This
Do a
probably would
mic
be
check,
better.
or do you think it's okay?
Yeah. Can you still hear me? Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, hi, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for taking the time to interview with us today. So, we have a few questions for you. The first being, could you tell us a little bit about how you're able to balance your role as both a neutral speaker and also a MLA that has to represent their constituents?
When I'm here in Victoria at the Parliament, I am strictly neutral. Um, because as a speaker, I represent all members, regardless of their political affiliation or party membership. When I'm back home in my constituency in Burnaby, I'm MLA like anybody else. I represent my members there. I go to events, all the community events as well. Here, if during the time when the House is sitting and I'm here, if any of my constituent has any issue, they would then contact my office. My office will get information from them. Then I, as a speaker, don't ask those questions in the House. Speakers don't ask questions, but I have the privilege, you can say, I will, if I need, any minister needs to look at the issue that my constituencies may be facing, I can call the minister and the minister have to come and see me and we can deal with it.
Okay, I see. Thank you. For the next question, I know you're a person who immigrated to Canada. Could you tell us a little bit about how your personal background has been able to influence your views on democratic inclusion and also communication and participation?
Yeah, so when I came here in 1973, I was quite young. My plan was to go to law school, but then I also saw while I was waiting to go to school, I was waiting for some other information in the community, but I also needed some money. You know, as students, you can, I'm sure, all experience that. Money is very tight when you are in school. So I, coming from the farming background. My family did the farming all their life. So I looked at, there was an ad in the paper which was asking people to work, go to in the field to work, picking berries and harvesting and all that. So, well, as in, background of farming, I should find out how they do it here. When I um, called that uh, employer or the labor contractor. He said, "Sure, yeah, yeah, you got a job with us. We can pick you up tomorrow morning at 4:30 in the morning." I said, "No, 4:30 is too early. I'm not going to be ready for 4:30." He said, "Okay, how about 6:30?" I said, "That's fine." So 6:30 he came with a Econoline van, which had the capacity to carry only 12 or 13 people in it. But when he opened the door, there were at least 20 people sitting in it already. There were no seats, no seat belts, no nothing. Somehow managed to squeeze myself in, got to the farm, and there also at the farm I found out there was no running water, there was no toilets, no nothing, all that. So I kept asking questions, and one question I asked to somebody who was working next to me, I said, "Is there a union here we can talk to? Because it seems like these working conditions are so bad, we need to change." I didn't realize that he was the son of a farmer, and I got fired. I didn't even get the right back from Abbotsford. So it happened 5 times over 5 days. I kept asking those questions, and I realized that something is happening here. So I started doing some research, with contacted some like-minded people, and found out there was no law protecting farm workers. They were not even deemed workers under Employment Standards Act, Labor Code, or Health and Safety. regulations. So then I decided, instead of going to school, organize. It took many years, but finally we were able to form the Union of Farm Workers, Canadian Farm Workers Union, 1980, but started actually in 1979 first as an organizing committee. And that picture on the wall you will see later, that was done in 1979 when I was organizing. And then the National Film Board of Canada also documented all those activities. Now that documentary is available on YouTube. It's called A Time to Rise, which was widely used and shown all around Canada and around the world. So that's how I got into this. That's what I got me interested in social justice here, human rights, anti-racism, and workers' rights.
Thank
That
you.
was a long answer.
Thank you. It's a very meaningful story. I'm gonna pass it off to Tish.
Thank you so much for those responses. It provided a lot of insight regarding your journey. Our next question will be regarding your perspective on promoting diversity and inclusion within the legislature. So, as a speaker, how do you see that role evolving in the future in order to promote diversity and inclusion?
This parliament building is almost 130 years old, which is the biggest symbol of colonialism. When this building was built, people of color and indigenous people were not allowed to enter this building. That uh, discrimination continued for decades. Between 1872 and 1972, for 100 years, there were more than 870 different statements and policies were made in this building, which were very damaging to indigenous people, especially, but also people of different backgrounds. So when I became speaker in 2020, although I've been here since 2005 as MLA, in 2020 I was elected as a speaker. So I took upon myself to change the culture inside and out, to make this place more inclusive, more respectful. So that's why I started a project called Truth and Reconciliation, which is a quite challenging project in itself. So I then created an advisory committee which has four people on it from different indigenous chiefs, like one from Tuason Nation, one from Musqueam, one from Williams, one from. Should we redo it or this sound will affect?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So when we set up that advisory committee, that as I was saying, from Tuason, from Musqueam, from Williams Lake, and from the Chilliwack Stolo Nation. Those leaders, the indigenous leaders, sit with me and they advise me how we can change the culture here. So the first thing we did, we set up an action plan after talking with various people. I visited many nations across BC, and we will give you a copy later on of that action plan, which includes to have a regular training program for members to uh, understand indigenous background, culture, so how they can interact with each other. Plus, because this building is situated on the territories of Songhees and Esquimalt people, their language is Lokongan. So we have inscribed now that language, Lokongan language, outside the building, that little wall by the on the other side of the lawn, to show people that when we are here, we are very respectful. and we are grateful that we are able to work at the unceded territory of the Lekwungen speaking people, which is now called Songhees and Esquimalt nations. And inside, you will see like this kind of artwork was never here before. We have installed these pieces around this building now, quite a few of them, donated by the artist and somebody who owned this artist before, Mr. McCarthy. So, and then we um, regularly remind people that when we are here to work with each other, and also we should have mutual respect for each other. We can have disagreements about policies, but individually we should not be making any personal comments or on all that. So we take one step at a time. We have made quite a few changes, more to be done.
Great, thank you so much. In relation to a few of the key topics you discussed, given the increasingly polarized tone of global politics, what lessons can youth learn from the principles of decorum and impartiality in parliamentary debate?
Yeah, these days, what we have seen around the world, especially on the south side of our border, um, Mr. President, President Trump, has created a culture which is more disrespectful, more uh, kind of like it's making and normalizing bullying people, like not respecting people. So that has impacted not only in the United States, but we are next door to the United States. It has also impacted us quite a bit. On the social media, you will see there's so much hate and negative, very disrespectful comments made about people. Many of those people, everybody knows, don't even live here, but those trolls, they will just keep pulling people down rather than encouraging people to be equal and strong. And so that culture is now, you can see, all over the world. So what we have done regularly, reminding people that the differences, policy differences, are very encouraging part of our democracy. That's fine. You can be disagree with each other, but do not resort to have a kind of personal attack on anybody. We should respect people of different backgrounds, gender equity. People should be respected regardless you are male or female. Then people should be able to sit down and talk to each other comfortably rather than uh, being feeling threatened or undermined.
Great, thank you so much. I'll now be passing on the mic to our next interviewer for the following questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for your insightful answers. I'm now going to be asking you a few questions about youth, which we at BCYC are very passionate about empowering. So, first of all, um, if you had a message that you could tell to young people who are interested in civic leadership or politics, then what would that message be?
Believe in yourself. Never underestimate somebody. Never judge anybody. No, don't make any unnecessary assumptions about anybody. Respect people, because it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with each other, you can always learn from the person sitting next to you. If we only reach out to a person or a event or organization with our pre-assumed assumptions, like then you will not be very effective. I am very encouraged and very happy to see the young people, the youth these days, is much more wiser than what we were when we were young. So that's a very hopeful sign for our future, a better future. So younger people, work as a group together in a team rather than being individual. Because when you're working together, there's always more to learn and you can help each other.
Thank you for that message. It's very inspiring. Okay, for our next question, what role do you see young people playing in shaping the future culture of the Legislative Assembly?
First of all, they should uh, think about politics in a positive way, not in a negative way. Many times we hear some commentaries and some news on digital media or in the newspapers and all that, written in a very negative way. That's not what is the real picture. People, when they get elected, they are here with one purpose to make sure that their communities are taken care of. The people that they represent are taken care of. That we have a very successful, economically and culturally very successful province and our country as Canada. So that's what they look at it. So as a result, when they change their outlook of the politics, they would be feeling much better and encouraged to participate in politics. So at the local level, in your school, student unions, be part of that. Just have a really constructive debates. See what changes that as a student you would like to see in your institution to make it more accessible and affordable. And there's so many issues as students, you can look at, but have that constructive discussion with open mind. And also, at the local level, the students should also think of getting activated, regardless what party they believe in or what ideology they believe in. Active in part of constituency level or the federal riding. Could be for member of parliament or for member of legislative assembly, or if nothing else, they should be involved in the community, providing some voluntary work with the seniors, women's organizations, different community organizations that they can be part of. So when you get there, you are actually expanding your own horizon. You are learning from other people. So that's what, if we put that together, it will give us a totally different perspective of the society and the outlook that we want looking at. Otherwise, if you're working by yourself, you're only looking maybe in front of this computer screen most of the time. But yeah, we should get out and be actively involved in the community.
I really like that message as well. And another thing is that is another really pressing problem is that nowadays a lot of young people feel really disconnected or distanced from politics. So, how do you think that Canada or our government can address this?
Yeah. So that's why what I do, as we have a project called Speaker in Schools. So I go actively to meet with, to go to elementary schools, high schools, grade 10, 11, and 12, to social study classes, to encourage them to ask me questions. And we also do online, reaching out to those schools, as many as possible. I also go to university college level, talk to people, to your what to call those student clubs, and like annual meetings and all that. Meet with them, talk to them, so people can see exactly what's happening in the real terms of politics, not what the people see or hear just in 30 seconds on screen. So it's very important. That's what we do, and it makes a huge difference.
Thank you for those responses. I'll now pass it on to our last speaker.
Thank you for your responses thus far. So looking back on your tenure as speaker, what moments stand out particularly towards your career as speaker?
When I established my advisory committee to change the culture here, we were able to bring people together. We engaged in many of those events by bringing indigenous leaders here, so members, MLAs can meet with them directly. And I also encourage members to go and meet with their indigenous leaders in their own ridings, if they could be coming from up north or central British Columbia, or northern or eastern. It's a big province, so that it really having an impact. So we are now changing, like for example, these artworks, like again, is it like a tool to make ourselves aware, and also to educate ourselves why we are doing. We are celebrating some different festivals here, like we do Hanukkah, Diwali, Vaisakhi, Eid, Christmas. We celebrate here, bringing communities together so they learn from each other. So that that those kind of things are very impactful in my tenure as a speaker. So encourage people to reach out and learn from each other. Be respectful.
Finally, how do you hope you remembered as speaker for procedural fairness, cultural leadership, or something else?
Um, like that's up to people how they want to remember you. You can never put a kind of a formula by which you want to be seen or remembered. People have different ways of judging people. I hope people don't judge me just as a politician, just from the narrow scope, the lens that people always use. To look at my overall history as what I started, what I've been doing for the last 5 decades, um, to improve the lives of as many people as possible, to bring people together. Um, my efforts to do some work for the indigenous people to get them recognized here in the Legislative Assembly. My work with to people from different backgrounds, for LGBTQ, women from different cultures. So I encourage people to come together, sit down, and to have an open dialogue. So that's what I have done. I don't know how people will see me. I'll leave it up to them.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for having us today.
No worries. Yeah. Thank you. You can have 2 pictures. Yeah. We can stand here. We can also stand in front of that mask.